When yay, we're live. Woo.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, good morning. Hello to community, friends, wherever you are seeing this, whether it's live or replay. We want to hear from you and see you joining us being here today. I am really excited for a real authentic conversation. Okay. And honestly, like I have like the best person here for this conversation. So just to I'm gonna kick it off with just dropping some truth right out of the gate. So Shannon and I are here as multiple 6-7 figure business leaders. We tend to work with a lot of other visionary leaders, a lot of women in business. And basically, we're here to dispel some myths about what true joy is and what that looks like and how to claim it for yourself. So Shannon, you're such a powerhouse and just so authentic and real. Can you just share a little bit about how you help people? And then we'll get into the conversation.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Amber. Super excited. So I'm a business growth strategist. I help coaches and consultants around the globe find their freaking joy and build their business from a place of fun, joy, and curiosity, and throw out all the shit that we've been told we're supposed to be doing and actually just do the shit that lights us up, because that's when the money comes, baby.
Yeah. Amazing. So I think a lot of people can get confused about joy, meaning that you feel good all the time or you're happy all the time or life is perfect. What's your take on your definition of like what does joy actually mean?
Yeah. So I have just finished my book. My second book is called Practical Joy. It is sent off to the editor on Monday.
Yay.
Yay. And one of the things that I discuss in this book, and it's a question I get asked a lot because I do a lot of work with women around their joy, is what's the difference between joy and happiness? And so happiness is something that is always outside of us. It's that vacation that we can't wait to get on. It's the new car. It's the plate of ribs and barbecue sauce and cornbread. This is what I'm making for dinner tonight. So it's like, this is going to make me like so happy, right? And happiness is driven by external events, people, and factors, whereas joy is always cultivated from within. Mm-hmm. So even if you're having the most shittiest week, which I have had, thank God today, I'm like on the other side of the anxiety and the grief and like all the things that were happening this week, I still could take a moment every day and say, God, I feel like shit. But what would bring me joy in this moment? And, joy is an inside job. And Practical Joy is the book that's really going to help women get back to the inside job of cultivating joy and growing more joy in their lives. So that's the difference, at least outlined in my book.
Yeah, amazing. And what inspired this conversation is you and I have known each other for a while through a networking group, the Dames. I mean, it's way more than a networking group, but we have, we're just in each other's communities with such a shared philosophy and beliefs. Of course, we each say it in our own, unique way, celebrating the launch of my book along with your book coming very soon. So here's what I love about what you're sharing is I share so many similar beliefs on joy. And that's what I talk about in Unleashed. And to what you're saying and how I put it in my words is it's about your authentic power. And that is only cultivated from within. And having joy, experiencing joy doesn't mean that there's not the hard shit like you're saying. It means though that we can recognize that we can move through that. We don't need to still rob ourselves. You can be going through something really difficult and still choose joy. And you can choose it, you can feel it. So let's talk about like some real life, like what this has looked like for us, because I think it's really important. A lot of people watching are probably entrepreneurs. I know most people I end up coaching, this is what they're working around. Like they keep thinking that they're doing it wrong. They keep thinking they're trying to get to a thing that they're trying to get to, and then they'll feel joy. So what's an example?
That does not work. I tried that for a long time. Didn't you?
Yeah. Yes. I for a lot of years, I was living for the tomorrow, the next week, the year from now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm actually going to share a quick example, and then I want to kick it to you. So just a few days ago, I was on television to get to share about my book. Yay. And I knew, and there's like, of course, when things are happening, it's like everything's happening. This is the rhythm I'm in. I tend to work in rhythms where I have some like times of year that are really like on, and then I kind of like chill back a little bit. Everyone's got their own rhythm. And everything's happening now. My book launching, album launching, all this press, new team member on board, like all the things. So driving back from a few hours away, I could get home the fastest route on the highway. But I was like, but there's these back roads and I'm going to spend an extra 50 minutes, but I like looking at that scenery. And this is just a simple moment where I was like, I don't want to rob myself of this time of my life. This is like the only time of my life that it will ever be the launch of my first book. And I just did a live TV interview and I just want to like sit in that energy as I have a peaceful drive. Like this is just such a simple example, but I was like, if I rush home, like that's 45, it'll get me home 45 minutes sooner to hustle back to work. But why? I've worked really intentionally to get to this space right now where this is like the first time ever I'm doing this book thing and I'm sharing all this information with my community. So that was a moment where I was like, I can choose joy by taking the long road home.
Exactly. The long road home, the scenic journey.
The long way home. It is a song. Yeah.
I love it.
It's just a simple, but I just want to hope that lands for people. Sometimes like the way we experience joy, it's in that simple. It's like you get to choose your mindset. Like, why did I need to hustle home to get there 45 minutes sooner? I didn't need to. That would have been my own limiting belief that I need to get back to my computer.
Right.
So let's talk about sometimes there's the big stuff that blows up. What are some that are really present for you? Things that you've like navigated where it could look like really blowing up, but what did that look like and how do you still find joy?
Yeah. So, the biggest thing that happened really in my life, it was in the past 3 years. My husband has transitioned to my wife. And I had so much grief and so much identity crisis as well as she did. Right. And so much love for just wanting her to be who she felt like she should be in her body, but also grieving on the other side of things. Wow. That isn't what I knew. It was not a life I knew. Is not what I quote unquote signed up for. Right. And so really my own joy journey began. It began way before that, but I had to root into finding joy through this huge transition. And we are on the other side and we are happy. We are like in a good place. There's still moments of grief. There's still moments of some overwhelm, right? They come and they go, but finding my joy in the last 3 years helped me help women find their joy and really cultivate it from this inside place. And so what's it look like on the other side? We've actually just launched our podcast called the Transliteration Podcast. We've had 300 downloads in the first week and a half. People are sharing it like crazy. And it's really just Maria and I showing up. And as if you're in our living room with us and we're having a conversation from the moment that she came out and like what has happened. We're on episode 4 and we're still coming out in the first few days. Like there's so much around this that we want to help transgender people and their allies come together and learn how to communicate it better. And I didn't know any of that. Like we got on here today and you said, what are your preferred pronouns? And I'm like, I'm going with she and her. But if I would have known what I knew, like back then and I had the energy, I'd probably go with they, them, but let's do she and her. Like that's what we're doing. Right. And so that's really like where this, I almost can say, curiosity and infatuation around what does it really take to be joyful amidst these things that blow up. Like things are going to blow up. Even if you're great at business, even if you're great at marriage, like, we call it, there's a wrench that got thrown in somewhere along the way.
I'm so curious what to me, I'm hearing it requires vulnerability, curiosity, authenticity, like the ways that we're being. That's such a transformational journey that you're sharing about and navigating this. So what are some of those things that you embrace that really help you find your joy through such a,
Yeah.
Like transitions.
Yeah. Well, the very first thing, and really it's always my thing, even this week has just been a super tough week in my business. I have got to get outside. It doesn't matter if it's 0 degrees, 20 degrees below zero, or 100 degrees. Like where I can recalibrate and like get back to some sort of center is walking with the trees and the birds and I live in New Jersey on the Hudson River. So just walking along the waterfront, it always just kind of gives me perspective that I am just this one little speck in this great big world.
Yeah.
And that fresh air and just like shaking it up in the movement is really my go-to. The other thing, which I alluded to just a little bit ago, is cooking. Like I woke up today and I'm like, you know what? I'm cutting my day off short and I am cooking. Maria got me a new grill for my birthday. My birthday was last week. And I want to cook. I've got tofu marinating, barbecue tofu, and I'm making coleslaw and potato salad and homemade baked beans. Like, I'm like, this is my joy today. It's just to like get into my kitchen and get quiet and do my joyful things. You know?
Yes. Yeah. And so like, particularly for women in business, in order for us to show up and like keep doing what we're doing and make that impact, it's about what I'm hearing is like, it's finding the things that we need to fill ourselves at a soul level.
Yeah.
And like, you probably aren't going to get everything from your business. Like there's so many other things in life. In fact, most of the people that I think both of you and I work with, their business is important and the impact is important, but it's there to facilitate them also living their fullest, us living our fullest lives.
Yeah.
And I think like applying this, there's a couple things. It's in that journey of building your business, like knowing you're not doing something wrong. Like we each have our own unique journey.
And knowing it's not wrong, even if it fucking flops.
Yes.
It's not wrong.
Yes. Thank you.
There's something to be learned. There's something to be curious about. There's something to take away. And guess what? Everything we touch ain't going to fucking work.
Yes. Thank you for saying that. By the way, those of you who are here, amazing to see you. Let us know if you have questions or comments or if you're feeling this. So I want to share some truth around that. Like, okay, so some people who are maybe here in my community, you see these like beautiful looking graphics and posts. I also aim to show up super real. You know, everything going on with my book launch, right? Like this has been 4 years in the making. I've been assembling the team and the marketing strategy for over a year. And there are some really big things that did not go right. Okay, we were supposed to have a 4 to 6 month pre-order window, not getting into all the details, but there were some things with how it gets uploaded that changed at the week we were going to upload it to make it available for pre-order. Like the rules changed on things. So number one, my pre-order window went from 4 to 6 months to like 3 weeks. I had other things in place, like some marketing funnels and affiliate marketing over and over, kept breaking, not working. Kept fucking not working. And you know what though? And then instead of fixating on those things, and I'm like, oh, look at all these hundreds and thousands of sales that we were supposed to have for months. I'm like, don't do that game. Focus on, wow, I am so grateful and excited for the people who are raising their hand, put their money down to buy it, who are sharing their excitement, who are coming to our live launch party event. And to me, that goes back to, for me, it's some of my root foundational values and principles, which is focus on helping a human, focus on communicating to a person. One by one, your ripple and your impact grows. Like I'm kind of tying this back to some practical business strategy because people talk a lot about scale, and you and I both have in the range of multiple 6-7 figure businesses. But getting there, like for me anyway, and I want to hear more from you, it required focus on one person at a time.
Yep.
There's always this conversation around scale, but
listen, this is a whole nother like live of the shit that we're told about scaling a business that doesn't fucking work. Like,
yeah.
We can't go there today, people.
No, but here's why I'm tying it to joy. At least for me, is the more that I like kind of got wrapped into all these like lies or trying to do all this hustle harder and do the things, it robbed me of joy until I came into my authentic power.
Yep.
You know, and in order to be in our authentic power, we need to have more space for curiosity and play, which I know is something you love. So tell me about what does that mean to you for people to get more curious?
Yeah. So oh man, this actually came about, this idea of curiosity and play came about because I kept hearing something from my clients over and over. And what they would say, different clients at different times, your questions move us miles and minutes. And I'm like, are they talking like behind the scenes? Like, why do I keep hearing this? Right. And so I really started thinking about this, and I was like, man, it's the question, like coming up with some really great questions and living my life in this spirit of curiosity. And I have a master's degree in biology education. I've got an associate and a bachelor's degree in science. I spent a lot of time in science labs, but I also have kind of constructed, I was a classroom teacher in Harlem, New York City, and in Charlotte, North Carolina. My classroom was a lab. Like, it was a living lab of curiosity and play. And I have built my business like that. And when I come out of that space of what could be fun, what's my next best move, what could be something fun that's out of the box, and I kind of get into that like linear thinking, and that's where it all just blows up, and not in a good way for me. Like, that's where the anxiety comes in. That's where the depression comes in. That's where the overstimulation. I'm an introvert, I'm an empath, and I'm a HSP, which is a highly sensitive person. So if I am overstimulated on any spectrum, super excited or super not excited, it is not good for me. Like, long term, right? Which is part of what happened this last week, is I was so completely overstimulated by good stuff and not good stuff. And my body was just like, you can't operate at this level. And so this place of joy and curiosity, like, how much fun can you have growing your business, doing shit that lights you up, that is in your lifestyle values, right? Yeah. That is what nobody else is doing. And by the way, that's going to be the key to you actually doing what you want to do, is that you're tapping here into your heart and into your soul. And you know, in 2020, Amber, this is like such a profound moment. Yes, the pandemic hit. I also went in for a hysterectomy. My spouse was in the middle of the beginning of the transition. Like, there was a lot going on. I almost died from the hysterectomy because my kidneys were in failure. But I came out of that and I was like, oh God, I'm here. Like, I am here and I am present, and I don't have all the answers to anything. But one thing I am going to ask myself is, how can I double my revenue, triple my profit, and have more time off this year? And since then, the business has just kept exploding year after year. And that's not a question people sit around and then ask themselves. Like, it's an absurd question, right? How can you double the revenue, triple the profit, and like have more time off? It's a fun place to play. And so that's what I want for our visionaries and our business owners, is to get into this lab of experimentation and joy and get curious about how to grow your business next.
Yeah, it's the curiosity, like, if anything were possible, because quite frankly, pretty much it is, right? It's allowing yourself that question. If anything were possible, what do you desire? What would you cultivate and create? And one of the things we were talking about earlier is like uncovering joy. So you can't know what you're aiming to kind of cultivate more of if you don't know what brings you joy. And we need to create some space for play and discovering what brings you joy, so that you know what you want more of. And then you can set forth on that strategy to create that. So the way I think of this and communicate, you know, through in my business, is it's the vision of like, what do you want to create? How do you want to feel? It doesn't mean that we're saying you can't feel that now, but if you get clear on that, and then the strategy flows from that, versus this other way, this other prescriptive way, is people are very much like, well, I was told I should do these 10 steps to build a business, and I need to do this before I can do that. And it's like flipping that and say, no, let's just like push that out the door and say, actually, what sounds and it feels exciting to you? What do you want to create? And that's what I hear that you did for yourself as well. Is so you're talking about how you wanted to earn more and make less. And what did that make possible? Like, why did that matter as it relates to joy?
Yeah. So there's a couple of things I want to touch on here that you just said, and I'm sure they're in your book called Unleashed, right?
Yeah.
That's the name.
That's the name. Yeah.
I can't wait to get my hands on this book. So one of the things that we teach, we have a joy money retreat we offer twice a year. But at the joy money retreat, the only way any of us are ever going to get to our joy is to understand that 1, joy is personal, 2, joy is an inside job, but 3, the real thing is your joy and my joy, they are tied to our lifestyle values. And my top lifestyle values, number 1, safety and security. Number 2, travel and adventure. Number 3, health and wellness. Like, I know these. And I run every decision that comes my way through my lifestyle values. And that is how I can like keep this joy vibe, if you will, right? Yeah. If I didn't have those values and I hadn't defined them for myself, I wouldn't know what joy was, and I'd be floundering around. And so we've done really great work of helping women understand that our joy actually comes from what we value, and what I value might be very different than what you value, right? So 100%. The more we can live in these values, that is how you can cultivate more joy. So that's the first thing. The other thing you said that I think is super relevant to everyone and to this conversation is, you said, how is it going to make us feel? Right. And so we've all kind of been taught in this world, in this society, at least the society we live in, that if we accomplish X, Y, and Z, then we will have X, Y, and Z. And I was burning out with that. Like, I was so burning out. And I know we talked about this at the beginning. And I read a book by Danielle Laporte called The Desire Map. That book changed my life, because every day now I wake up and I know my core desired feelings. I want to feel like I'm having a meaningful contribution. I want to feel connected, and I want to feel safety and secure. And if those 3 things happen throughout my day, this is meaningful contribution, this is connection, I feel safe and secure. Like, I am getting my feelings met. And that is really, I think, where so much of the joy and the fulfillment can come from, if we're willing to step away from we have to achieve A, B, C, D through Z, and actually tap into how do we want to feel today.
100% agree with you. And so what you're talking about right there through Unleashed is teaching and helping people realize the blockers that prevent them from allowing themselves to go there, to allow themselves to truly align with their values and trust and believe that they're worthy of it, and that, like, how to do it. Because a lot of people will hear us talking, at least this is what I hear. They're like, oh, that's great. Yeah, I hear that. But then there's still something that's like preventing them from actually, like, for me, it's personal freedom is my top value and guiding principle. Is how am I cultivating, creating my business and my life that provides me full personal freedom? And I define that for me as being able to be my true self, say what I want. Of course, like, it's always like, there's always compassion and like, you're still communicating with a human, but not holding back my truth and authenticity. The same with how I like to express myself. Like, I feel like an expressive, artistic person. And it's the freedom of being able to like get on a plane and be somewhere if I'm invited to be in a room and do a thing. So like creating the structures of my business that allow me that. For me, there was a whole bunch of layers though of conditioning and programming that were peeled back and worked through, that were necessary to even allow myself to believe that what I valued was okay to value. Yeah. Right. So anyway, that's just like a little like cliff note. And by the way, I dropped the link. Anyone who's interested in the book, that's what this book journey is teaching you, is how to peel back that conditioning to be able to accomplish what Shannon's talking about, which is acknowledging your values and then creating your life to live in alignment with it. Because it's one thing to say it, and it's another thing to like learn how to do it, right? Exactly. And I love that we're like here walking people in that journey, helping them.
And I think it's a third thing. One thing to say, another thing to do, and the third is to keep choosing it.
Oh, yes.
And not forget what you said you were going to choose. Not get distracted by all the shiny squirrels.
When it's exhausting, and when the tech's not working, and when the da-da-da-da-da, and when the da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah. Continue choosing it.
Thank you. I love that. So I know you have an upcoming workshop. And by the way, anyone who's watching, if you have questions, now's your chance, drop them. And if you tag us in the replay, we'll do our best to reply. It's a fun joy play space. Tell us about this, the Curiosity Lab.
Yeah, so we've got a curiosity lab coming up. The lab is a place you come play. The curiosity lab is a place you come play for your business. It's open to 10 people. It's a free event. Just ask if you take a seat, show up. And the spirit of this is we're going to ask the question, what is your next best move in business? To grow your business, right? What is your next best move to grow your business? We're going to think outside the box. We're going to get curious. We're going to have fun. And we're going to just do some brilliant brainstorming. And hopefully you leave super inspired to go take your next best step and do it your own way. Because that's really, I think, what Amber and I are such a stand for here.
Love it. Love it. Awesome. Drop that link on there. So is there anything else that you just feel like inspired to share about joy and
I would love, because I'm going to share this to my community as well. Can you tell just a little bit about, like, you're in a rock band, like show the cover of your book, like,
okay.
How does your joy and your band and your book all come together? I'd love to know that.
Thank you. Oh, I love that. Okay, let me give it a simple answer. Well, what I already alluded to, I had so many layers of the conditioning, right? Like being a sensitive, highly sensitive also person, but I had these stories that you have to think with your, your brain, and I'm equal parts soul and strategy, but I was cut off from that, even though, and I lead with this in the book, some of my earliest memories were wanting to have a rock band, travel the world and help people and have a rock band. That was like my true soul essence. But then through the years, I stuffed that down because I had all these stories that wasn't valued enough. And part of it was growing up, working class poor, truthfully. And I was first generation to graduate high school. Part of it was the sheer necessity of, I need to figure out how to go make money to even get myself, like, start changing the trajectory of my life. But the thing that I'm proud of that I didn't wait until I was like 30, 40, 50 or at the end of my life. First of all, by the way, it's never too late to do whatever you want. But I'm glad that I started waking up to that, like, and saying, okay, even though I'm working this job and I love it and I'm making money, like, Amber, don't forget that on the inside, you are an artist, you are a musician. And so then I just I ended up meeting my husband, who's our guitarist, through an ad in a small town newspaper. He was looking for a singer for a band. So for me, that was like always there at the front as a whisper. And I just quit putting off the damn whisper. Like, and I just had to like value my creativity enough to know, like, you're not here just to work and just to pay the bills. Yeah. And so through the book, I teach and talk about all this side by side. Everything is like a business story, a band story, and the analogy and how the more that I allow myself to like be my true self and quit living like a split person, how that's been the key to everything, like the key to my joy, the key to my success in business, like just all of it. Because there was years when I had a job where, like, I thought that they wouldn't take me seriously and they didn't know I was in a rock band. I'd wear my 3-piece suit and my skirt past my knees and my nylons and my heels, and I'd try to look so professional. And then on the weekend, I was like, I'm rocking on stage. Like, and I had this limiting belief that I wasn't okay to be that. Yeah. And that people wouldn't take me seriously in business.
Yeah. I know. I think that's the very first probably unconditioning we all have to do, right? As we step from, I didn't have corporate, but I was a teacher. There was certain rules that, you had to like live by to be a successful and respected teacher, and to step out of that and be able to say, no, I'm going to show up in my bra shows today. I'm fine with it. Like,
I love it.
Seriously, I could not walk into an 8th grade classroom like this.
It's a piece of. So I think, okay, I like to draw the connections. What I'm hearing is, well, you went out and created a way where you can be in your magic and gifts without sacrificing the true you.
Exactly. And it's not that I need to have my bra showing every day, but I actually like this bra, and it's 80 degrees today and I'm in shorts and a tank top. And I'm like, I'm not putting a cover up on. Amber will be fine with it.
It's a vibe. It's a vibe. Look, we're not alone there. Ooh, okay. We're freeing the bra strap. We're starting a movement. Okay. Here now. It's a thing.
Oh, God, I love you.
honestly, just thank you for like the laughs and the realness. I just appreciate that. Feels so amazing. And I hope that's just what people take away also is like, go find someone where you can have a real conversation with.
For real.
Join our communities. Come be with us.
We're keeping it real. And I'm ordering your book and I cannot wait. I know we talked about me coming out to your party, but I'm going to be in Phoenix giving a keynote. So it didn't work out, but I am just wishing you so much success and love. And I can't wait to relive it through the interwebs.
Yay. And thank you for the feedback. Someone said the Curiosity Lab sounds awesome and they're counting down the days to get their hands on my book. Woo! And we are freaking awesome. Thank you so much. You all are awesome. We're all awesome. Yes,
we're all awesome.
Being authentically who we are.
Yes.
Monster fire and everything.
So I don't know who said it because on my screen it says Facebook user, but if you scroll up the comments, the Curiosity Lab is above in the comments. You can check it out. We'd love to see how curious and fun you can be in your business.
Yay. Awesome. Thank you so much, Shannon.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good day, everyone.
Adios, everyone.